laid out for us and help us understand where this all leads and the steps and the order that will be taken. What more can you tell us?
Well, you would imagine that all of the families of the hostages tonight are extremely excited. But here in Jerusalem, there have been hostage families out protesting. They support the deal in general terms, but they don't like the way that it is supposed to be implemented. They think it is too long, it is too complicated. They would much prefer a one-and-done deal in which Hamas releases all of the hostages, the fighting stops, Israeli troops pull back, the war is over. That is not the deal, however, that is being signed. This deal is an immensely complex deal. It involves maps in which where the Israelis are supposed to pull back, on what day they're supposed to pull back, how much time they are supposed to they're allowed to have before Hamas can have before it releases the next batch of hostages. So there are concerns here that this process, while generally welcomed, is extremely fragile. The role you mentioned that Qatar has been playing has been essential. The Qatari Prime Minister, who is also the Foreign Minister, has been deeply involved in this personally over the last several weeks, dedicating almost all of his time to trying to get this over the line. And here in Israel, there is also a sense, and Raf was talking about this earlier, that this deal could have been reached earlier, that the pressure from President-elect Trump helped get it over the line, but also many suspect here, Prime Minister Netanyahu's critics, that he was somewhat dragging his heels, that he wanted to wait until President-elect Trump was about to be inaugurated so that there would be a gift for this could be a gift to the incoming president. So there are a lot of political factors here at play as well. And then one more thing, Lester, let's not forget the larger political context. What is happening now is very significant for the hostages. You could imagine the hostages don't want it to be happening this way. They want them all out tonight, and I can completely understand that. But what is also at play is the entire power dynamics in the Middle East are shifting. The map of the Middle East is being rewritten as we speak. Gaza, because of this war, has been destroyed. It will need to be rebuilt. Almost all of the people of Gaza have been displaced from their homes. You mentioned nearly 47,000 people killed, according to local officials in Gaza. But also, because of that October 7th attack and Israel's response to it, we have now seen Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is backed by Iran, more or less destroyed. So a new government in Lebanon, a new political reality in Lebanon. The government in Syria, which was also backed by Iran, has been overturned, and there is now a new rebel-led government in Syria. Now Hamas has been destroyed and has been forced to accept a deal that it did not obviously want to accept. What Hamas thought when it initially launched the October 7th attack was that it was going to destroy Israel, that it was going to bring the country to its knees. Instead, it saw tens of thousands of people in Gaza killed and ultimately forced to sign a deal in which it has to release the hostages and leave a buffer zone that Israel will control around Gaza. Gaza was sealed off before. It will be even more sealed off now because of this deal.
And Richard, we should know you're in Jerusalem. On the left-hand side of the screen, you're seeing the crowds in the street in Tel Aviv right now as the world waits details on a resolution to this hostage crisis. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. We're expecting a news conference in Qatar from officials there shortly. But in the meantime, let me bring in Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at the CIA and the Pentagon. Jeremy, talk to us about the role of Americans and how they contributed to this deal.
Yeah, well, first of all, U.S. mediators were obviously integrally involved with their Israeli counterparts, their Qatari counterparts, and their Egyptian counterparts. But I also want to talk, Lester, about the 7 Americans who are part of these hostages that we are trying desperately to free today. 3 we believe are still alive. That's Sagi Dekel-Chen. He's a 36-year-old father of 3. There's Keith Siegel, the 65-year-old, who is one of the oldest